Take a step back in time. Journey with us across windswept deserts and over snow-capped mountains, to an era when the world was both infinitely vast and intimately connected. We are venturing into the heart of the world's most influential and legendary network of trade routes. This is the story of the Silk Road. Mind you, the name itself is a modern invention, coined in the 19th century. It's not an actual single road paved with stone, but a sprawling, ever-shifting tapestry of pathways, a dynamic network of arteries that carried the lifeblood of civilizations across continents for nearly 2 millennia. It was a network that didn't just move goods, it moved worlds, shaping the course of human history in ways we still feel today. So, how did it all begin? Around the turn of the 2nd century BCE with the ambitious Emperor Wu of China's Han Dynasty. His empire was constantly threatened by the nomadic Xiongnu tribes to the north. In 138 BCE, he dispatched a trusted envoy, Zhang Qian, on a perilous diplomatic mission, to journey west and forge an alliance against their common enemy. Zhang Qian's mission was, in military terms, a failure. He was captured by the Xiongnu and held for a decade. After a daring escape, he pressed on, reaching the sophisticated Hellenistic kingdoms of Central Asia. He returned to China 13 years after he had left, not with an alliance, but with something far more valuable: knowledge. He brought back astonishing tales of powerful, unknown civilizations, of thriving cities and of magnificent, powerful steeds, the heavenly horses of the Fergana Valley, which were far superior to the smaller Chinese ponies. Emperor Wu, realizing the potential, saw an opportunity. Trade, not war, could project Han power and bring immense wealth. The formal, state-sponsored routes of the Silk Road were about to be born. This vast web of trails stretched over 4,000 miles, linking the Han capital of Chang'an to the Mediterranean shores. It was not one path, but a labyrinth of choices. The northern route skirted the great deserts, passing through the grasslands of the Eurasian steppe. The more arduous southern route plunged directly into the formidable Taklamakan Desert, a place whose name means you go in but you don't come out, before climbing the treacherous Pamir Mountains. Along these perilous paths, a string of pearls were the oasis cities, places like Samarkand, Bukhara, Kashgar and Dunhuang. They were more than just rest stops. They were vibrant, cosmopolitan hubs where caravans could resupply, where merchants from a dozen lands could haggle in a babel of tongues, and where cultures collided and coalesced. They were the beating heart of the Silk Road. And what treasures did these caravans carry? From the east came the eponymous commodity, silk. For centuries the Chinese guarded the secret of its production, the cultivation of silkworms and the weaving of their cocoons. In the Roman Empire, this shimmering, lightweight fabric was worth more than its weight in gold, a symbol of ultimate luxury and status. It was so desired it was blamed for draining the imperial treasury. But China also exported porcelain, tea, paper, and the volatile secret of gunpowder. In return, the West sent its own riches eastward. Roman glassware, coveted for its clarity, travelled to China along with woolens, linens, gold, silver, and precious gems. New foods transformed agriculture as China gained access to grapes for winemaking as well as walnuts and figs. Few merchants, however, ever made the entire journey. Goods were passed from one middleman to the next: Persians, Indians, and especially the Sogdians, the master traders of Central Asia. At each exchange, the price increased, making the items that reached the end of the line fabulously expensive. But the Silk Road's most transformative cargo was invisible. It wasn't just goods that were transported, it was ideas, philosophies, and faiths. Buddhism, born in India, travelled north and east along these trade routes. Monks carrying sacred texts braved the same dangers as merchants, spreading their teachings. The magnificent cave temples at Dunhuang and Bamiyan stand as breathtaking testaments to the devotion that flourished along this path, creating a unique Greco-Buddhist artistic style. Nestorian Christians found refuge and converts in the east, establishing churches all the way to the Tang court in China. Now, Manichaeism, a syncretic faith from Persia, spread widely among merchant communities. And later, from the 7th century onward, the explosive spread of Islam would profoundly reshape the cultural, political, and religious landscape of the entire region. The Silk Road became a highway for the human spirit. Inventions, too, hitched a ride. The Chinese art of papermaking journeyed west after the Battle of Talas in 751, when Arab forces captured Chinese artisans. This cheap, efficient alternative to parchment and papyrus revolutionized record-keeping, scholarship, and governance throughout the Islamic world and eventually in Europe. The compass, gunpowder, and printing technologies would all follow, each one a catalyst for profound change. But this unprecedented connectivity had a terrifying dark side. In the 14th century, the Silk Road became the conduit for the deadliest pandemic in human history, the Black Death. Carried by fleas on rats stowed away in merchant caravans, the plague traveled from the steppes of Asia, reaching the Black Sea and then exploding into Europe, wiping out as much as half its population. The very routes that brought prosperity and enlightenment also delivered unparalleled devastation. Empires rose and fell along its length, their fortunes inextricably tied to the flow of trade. The Han dynasty in China and the Roman Empire at the opposite end of the world were the two great anchors. They never had direct contact, but their mutual desire for exotic goods fueled the entire network. The Parthian and Sasanian empires of Persia thrived as the powerful middlemen. The Tang dynasty's golden age in China saw the Silk Road reach its zenith of cultural exchange. But no empire had a more profound impact than the Mongols. In the 13th century, Genghis Khan and his successors forged the largest contiguous land empire in history. Their brutal conquest created the Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace, a century of unprecedented stability and security across Eurasia that made the Silk Road safer than it had ever been. It was during this Mongol Peace that a young Venetian merchant embarked on a journey that would become legendary. His name was Marco Polo. With his father and uncle, he traveled for 24 years, crossing the entirety of Asia to serve in the court of Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis. His book, The Travels of Marco Polo, filled with tales of paper money, burning black stones, coal, and the immense glittering cities of the East, became a European sensation. It fired the imaginations of explorers and merchants, revealing a world far richer and more complex than they had ever conceived. But Polo was just one of many. Centuries before him, the Chinese Buddhist monk Xuanzang undertook a heroic 17-year pilgrimage to India to retrieve sacred scriptures, an epic journey of faith and endurance. And in the 14th century, the great Moroccan scholar Ibn Battuta traveled even more extensively than Polo, providing an invaluable Islamic perspective on the interconnected world of his time. These were the figures who shared stories and sparked curiosity between worlds. By the 15th century, the caravans began to fade. The world was changing. The collapse of the Mongol Empire fractured Central Asia into warring states, making overland travel perilous once more. More importantly, a new age of discovery dawned in Europe. Navigators like Vasco da Gama pioneered maritime routes around Africa. Sea travel was faster, cheaper, could carry vastly more cargo, and crucially, it bypassed the tolls and political instability of the overland Silk Road. The age of the caravan was giving way to the age of the caravel. But its legacy remains, woven into the very fabric of our modern world. It is a timeless symbol of connection across continents, a testament to the power of human curiosity to cross any border. Today, the spirit of the Silk Road is being reborn in new forms, in ambitious infrastructure projects, digital information highways, and a globalized economy that links us all more tightly than ever before. The cultural exchange it fostered still echoes in our art, our food, our languages, and even our DNA. It taught us that no wall is permanent and no distance is too great for an idea to travel. It is a profound reminder that the grand sweep of history, the rise and fall of empires, the spread of faith, and the forging of our modern world could all be set in motion by the desire for a single shimmering thread.